Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice, Simple Steps for Showing Up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. This is the second episode to this little tiny series. These little series are actually pretty fun. It gives me a topic to diversify with and to go a little bit deeper on each little piece. And it allows you to have the simplest of steps. And like last week's episode on drifting into your goals, we're going to drift a little further. Couple weeks ago, I had decided, actually about a month and a half ago, my friend posted a photo of a group of us that did a 100-mile gravel bike ride back in 2022. And he posted this photo and said, we should throw this back this year and get it done again. I have not ridden that distance probably since that ride in 2022. In 2023, I rode road bike the whole year. But I never really went over about 20 miles, 13 to 20 miles. I think the loop I did was pretty much 13 miles. And then I would periodically go up to 20, 25 miles, and that was it. Just quick workouts in the morning. And then in 2024, I did exclusively mountain biking because I moved back to where we live now, which is on the mountain. So I went from road riding all of 2023 to mountain biking all of 2024. And now we're into 2025, and he posted this photo about a month and a half ago. And I thought, if I'm going to join them, I need to get saddle time. I need to train my butt to sit on a saddle for 6+ hours, a 100-mile bike ride. And how important it is to train that muscle, train your butt. So I decided once it starts to warm up a little bit, I don't really want to get out in the 20 and 30 degree. I'll just keep in my current routine. But once we start getting a little warmer, I'm going to get out there. So I made a goal 2 weeks ago. Let's get out on the road again. I got my bike prepared. I got the chain greased. I got everything ready. Got my lights charged. I got the bike down off the rack. I got everything ready. That way I did not have any excuse no matter what obstacle came my way. But the only obstacle that could come that I would not ride in is probably snow, because that's just dangerous on a road bike. But beside that, we were good to go. And I woke up the next morning early enough to get a decent ride in, and I see it's 42 degrees. Dang it. Okay. Let's dress a little warmer than I anticipated, because it had been in the 50s, so it dropped the day I went out. So I dressed a little bit warmer. Got out on the bike. I got out a little bit late because my sons woke up exceptionally early, and they wanted pancakes, and they wanted cereal, they wanted eggs, they wanted all this stuff. And just thing after thing after thing kept jumping in the way. And I was quickly running out of time to do the loop that I had anticipated. And I haven't done this loop, keep in mind, for a couple of years. And one thing that is really daunting is I live up on the mountain. So leaving my house is pretty quick. Coming home after whatever distance I do, it is a long, arduous, difficult, painstaking hill to get to my house. So no matter what I do, it's going to really suck at the end. So I decided to go down my old loop. And I shot down. I couldn't remember. I knew it was about 15, 16 miles. And I remember it took me about an hour. I shot down. And I went out the distance, and I felt like I was ahead of schedule. And then I realized I'm not ahead of schedule. I've been going downhill this whole time. I've got uphill to go for the second half. And as I'm going, it's cold. And then the sun pops up, and now I'm overly hot. And I just keep pedaling. I keep going. And I'm realizing that day is really packed. I'm helping a neighbor move. I have my boys all day. It was spring break for it was one of their breaks. So I had them all day while Michaela worked. I had all this stuff that I could have just cut my ride short and went home. But I kept going. And I ended up getting home 7 minutes before my sons had to leave for school. With my wife, she's currently pregnant. She slept in because she had a really rough night. I had to rush and get my boys in the car, get them done, get them dressed, get them in the car, and get out the door within 7 minutes of getting home. I ended up doing that ride in an hour, 6 minutes. I ended up totally dying. It rocked my soul. It rocked my body. But I still did it. I still kept going. I still kept my commitments that entire day. And then I was asked, why did you go on that bike ride? Later on, or the next day, I was so sore. And my brother goes, why did you go on that bike ride? You knew you had all this stuff stacked in this day. You knew it was an exceptionally busy day. You knew it was going to be hard. It was cold. Why did you go the distance? And by the way, it was 17.3 miles. It was further than I thought it was. It took longer than I thought it was. I was dressed for the cold, and then the sun popped up, and then it heated up quickly, and I started overheating. All these things. My sons wanted breakfast. They got up super early, earlier than normal. So many things. And my only response, which was my natural response, he said, why did you do that? I said, because I said I would. That's it. I said I would go on my bike ride, and so I did. I said I'd help my neighbor move. So I did. I said I would do these things because, I did those things because I said I would. Being true to your word. I'm the flag football coach for my son's flag football, and honesty was the value that we were teaching yesterday. Are you honest with yourself? Are you impeccable with your word? Do you do the things you say and say the things you do? I was having the boys, these 5-year-old boys, repeat this. We do what we say and we say what we do. We do what we say what we do. That is the foundation principle of honesty. We do what we say. We keep our word, and we say what we do. How simple of a statement that is, but how true it is. I went on this bike ride because I said I would. That's it. All the obstacles came in the way. And in reality, I just kept pressing forward, knowing I'm going on my bike ride. And it was of no thought when he asked, why did you go on the bike ride? My response was, because I said I would. Here's the question for you. Here's what I want you to ponder. How impeccable are you with your word to others and to yourself? When you say you're going to go to the gym, do you go to the gym? When you say you're going to follow the plan, do you follow the plan? When you say you're going to do these things, do you do them? 2.5 years ago, I removed donuts from my diet. My mindset coach asked me, he said, what are you ready to let go that you know you need to let go, but have not yet let it go? Or what in your world are you doing that you probably shouldn't do and you're ready to let it go? And it took me about 6 weeks to come up with that answer. And the answer was donuts. It was supposed to be specifically something with food. It was donuts because yes, I love donuts. Yes, I can crush a box of donuts like it's not even there. And back then, if you passed me with donuts, I've always been so high in fitness that I could eat a donut, 2 donuts, 3 donuts, 5 or 6 donuts, and it doesn't affect my body or my mind. So I had that excuse. But if there was any donuts at the workplace, if I passed it, I probably had 2, 3, or 4. And if I'm being honest with myself, remember, impeccable with your word, I didn't have a lot of control when it came to donuts. If I was told I can have one, I'll have one. But if they were just left there, I'd have one and let everybody have them, and then I would just devour them. And that was one of my crutches. That was one of my Achilles heels, one of my kryptonites, donuts. So I said, I'm ready to get rid of donuts. I have not had a donut for 2.5 years until last week. I went 2.5 years to the point that they don't affect me at all. And I was pondering about simple pleasures in life, simple joys. And I thought, I'm going to reintroduce a donut. And I thought this about 8 months ago. I'm going to reintroduce donuts in my world because I like them. Simple as that, because they're a simple pleasure. And right now, things are pretty chaotic in our world. So I try and seek simple pleasures, things that just I like, things that bring me joy. And donuts are one of them. But I didn't want to give it up for any donut. I passed a myriad of donuts because they were all cheap from the grocery store, not really, really good donuts. And then we were up at my father-in-law's house. He got baptized. So we went up there, and Sunday morning they went to the local donut shop, local bakery, and they specialize in high-end donuts. They're a luxury donut shop, and they had just opened. So I said, I'm gonna finally reintroduce this. And so I did, and it was amazing. I loved it. But I didn't eat donuts for 2.5 years because I said I would. And then I reintroduced them because I said I would. How impeccable are you with your word? Do you do the things you say and say the things you do? To others and to yourself. Do you do the things you don't want to do because you know you need to do them? Do you put off things because you don't want to get it done, or you feel like you have other things of higher priority? We all have those tasks in the house: dishes, laundry, trash, mopping, vacuuming, the daily household things that you leave it and pawn it off to somebody else, or it's your job, but you have other stuff to do that is of higher priority. So you do them first, never getting to that task, or you put it off because you just don't want to do it. What if you did it first? I did a podcast episode a couple of years ago on the order of priority. Do the hardest / things you don't want to do first, followed by the most important, followed by everything else. That is how I was trained to prioritize tasks by my father, who was military. How important is it to you to be honest, to be impeccable with your word, to do things because you said you would? I've got a really close friend. He's my mountain biking brother. We mountain bike very often together. We've gone the last 2 Fridays together with a group of people. And he puts me in a category with about 3 other people. He calls us bankable. Because if I say I'm going to be somewhere or do something, he never has to check it in. He never has to check. He never has to ask. He just knows it's done. Bankable. You could take that check to the bank and don't have to worry if it's going to get cashed or not. Don't have to worry if there's money on the other side. He just knows it is salt of its worth. How much of your worth are you? Can somebody call you bankable? Can somebody ask you to do something, you say you'll do it, and they never check in because they know you'll get it done, and you'll get it done to the best of your ability? How bankable are you? Do you keep your word with others and with yourself? But most importantly, with yourself. It's much easier to do it to others because you're going to get some kind of ridicule if you don't follow up. But if you don't do it to yourself, it's up to you to ridicule yourself. And most people just don't do that. Be the person that does that. Be the person that is true, honest, and chaste with yourself. Benevolent with yourself. Love yourself by keeping promises with yourself. And by the way, that is the basis foundation for self-esteem. That is the basis, making and keeping promises with yourself, with self-image, with confidence, with all these different things. That is what it is. It's making and keeping promises with yourself. So I leave that with you. Do the things you say you'll do. Do it because you said you would. We do what we say what we do. Have this conversation with your friends and your family. Find me on socials, Mr. Brad Draper. Leave me a review on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you listen to this. Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.